Hi, my name is Louise Manning and I'm a professor here at the Royal Agricultural University. I'm going to talk to you today about supply chain resilience. What are we going to talk about in the next few minutes? We're going to talk about what resilience is. We're going to discuss some examples of internal and external shocks, either for individual businesses or food supply chains, and how they can impact on resilience. And then we're going to focus on how businesses can develop strategic resilience plans. Let's start with thinking about resilience. Some would say that resilience is simply the opposite of vulnerability. So if a business or a supply chain identifies all the potential vulnerabilities that could occur and they mitigate those with the range of procedures or protocols or systems that they put in place, they will then be resilient. Others would argue that resilience goes further than that, and it's the ability to return to a steady state so that you as a business can withstand any shocks that could occur for your business and you can return to business as usual. Others would argue that resilience is far more than that. It's not only being able to withstand the shocks or supply chain squeezes that could occur over a long period of time, it's also to see these challenging events as assisting you with the capacity for change, growth, and renewal. It's important to recognize that shocks can be both internal and external to the supply chain. So when any business is developing a list of potential shocks that could affect their resilience, they can divide them into two categories. Those that are specific to their supply chain. So that could be a particular ingredient or material. And if, for example, it could be severely affected by a weather event, or it could be staff that you have in your business and the ratio of employed to contract staff. It could be that your business relies on certain pieces of equipment within your factory. If that piece of equipment was to break down, that would have a severe shock to your business because simply you would not be able to produce the food. Or there could be a whole range of external factors that are often outside your control as an organisation. That could be weather, that could be a significant social event, political event that occurs that then impacts on your business and the supply chain. So when we think of resilience, we think about a business being able to identify what the potential shocks are that could occur, market and wider environmental shocks, and also how they can be flexible and have adaptability to absorb those shocks and still maintain a functioning supply chain or indeed a functioning business. So what we really come down to then is capacity. What is the capacity of that business? What do we mean by that? Well, we can think of buffer capacity. How much do we have in terms of resources as a business or a supply chain to suffer and overcome a particular shock? If we were to think of a major harvest failure for one particular ingredient that was really important for your product, what kind of level of stock do you need to be able to function whilst you wait for the next harvest or delivery of that product? Do you maintain secondary suppliers so that if there was a failure with one particular supplier, you have a secondary supplier that you can immediately switch to so that you can keep production running? What kinds of buffer capacity do you have in terms of skills, in terms of procedures, protocols, systems? Do you have a business continuity plan that you can put in place at a moment's notice? And we also have to think of adaptive capacity. How flexible and adaptive is your business? Are you totally reliant on one way of working within your business? So if your customers had a severe shock, or indeed, if we were to think of a major health event, such as the coronavirus we're currently experiencing, how can your business be flexible and adapt to change? These are the issues that lie at the heart of business resilience. So how does this apply to your business? Well, your business has to develop systems and procedures to address these internal and external shocks, what we might call crisis situations. What are the crisis situations that could occur in your business? How are you going to, firstly, survive that shock? What systems, procedures, protocols do you need to have in place? If there was a major flooding event that completely flooded your factory, or meant that a number of your suppliers then couldn't supply you with vital materials, how are you going to adapt your business at that moment so that you still survive? Have you agreed with a competitor that you could potentially pack your product there for a period of time and had a reciprocal agreement with them? These are all really important elements of a business crisis plan. So the first element of resilience is always survival. How is my business going to survive? But then the next element is, how do I see this as a potentially positive experience? What new markets have suddenly opened up for my business, which were not there before because of this severe shock that my business is now facing? What are the ways in which I can develop my business so that it grows through this experience? The second element of growth as a part of resilience, and renewal as a part of resilience, can only really be put in place once the business is sure that it will survive. But we need to think about how we are going to survive all that range of different shocks, albeit economic, physical, political, and also social situations that could really impact on our business, our suppliers, but also our customers too. So how do we build strategic resilience? How do you make your business dynamic and agile? For many businesses right now in the UK, with the challenges around coronavirus, we're looking at, how do we build agility? How do we prevent brittleness within our supply chain? And we're seeing great destabilization right now. So what can you do as a business? First, you have to recognize the internal and external shocks that could impact on your business, and where possible, develop a business continuity plan that addresses those issues so you reduce vulnerability. You also need to think of, as a business, around shocks that could occur that would have a devastating impact on your business. The actual shock may not matter. It's the fact that you could have a whole range of scenarios that impact on your business. What happens if there is panic buying and you have a product that is going to remain on the shelf when customers panic buy others? How are you going to address that as a business? What happens if you are supplying food service and there is a requirement for all of those restaurants to close? It's important for businesses to think about all these elements of strategic resilience. Very often we talk about resilience and even strategic resilience as an almost academic topic. As we see with the coronavirus right now, what has very often been seen as an academic thought process, developing business continuity plans in isolation, is now becoming very real. So, what resilience is, what internal and external shocks could impact your business, and equally how you build a strategic resilience plan are all elements that businesses have to think about as they go forward at any time, but especially right now. Thank you for listening.